और सबका कैसा चल रहा है? ऐसा अभी मेरे को कुछ दिख नहीं रहा, वो हट गया। अच्छा हाँ। और देवराज थिंक और किसी को मैं जानता नहीं हूँ। रौनक।
Good morning, Bhaiya.
Hey, hi Ronak.
Hi, Bhaiya.
How are you?
Fine, fine.
Good, good. So I'll
Yeah,
just
Ronak, uh,
हाँ
co-convener है. Ronak and Devraj is also there. वो भी co-convener है.
ओके,
Yeah.
गुड गुड। अच्छा काम किया वैसे तुम लोगों ने इस बार। आई होप कि तुम अपने
Thanks,
जूनियर
भैया.
बैच
Like,
को भी ये सब बता के जाओ। तुम्हारा जूनियर
हाँ.
बैच ये सब
So,
कंटिन्यू रखिए।
मैंने देखा ये फोर्थ या देवराज, रौनक, अमित, ये लोग जब अन्वेषण पास आने वाला था तो देवर लाइक कि अभी मैं आधे घंटे के लिए नैप लेता हूँ, तुम लोग तब तक स्टार्ट करो गेम, जो है कंटिन्यू करो, आधे घंटे के लिए नैप ले रहा हूँ. सो सो इस तरह का वो इस लेवल पे काम कर रहे थे, तो काफी अच्छा लगा.
गुड गुड।
हम्म.
या एक्चुअली मैं ये बता देता हूँ, जो स्क्रीन शेयर हो रही है एक्चुअली मैं जब प्रेजेंट करूंगा तो मैं सोच रहा था कि फॉर द ऑडियंस इंटरेक्शन इफ पॉसिबल, अगर कुछ कंसिडरेबल लोग आ जाते हैं सो वी कैन यूज द स्लाइडो थिंग। यहाँ पे पोल्स वगैरह पॉसिबल है, सो आई रिक्वेस्ट यू ऑल गाइस टू जस्ट स्कैन दिस थिंग ऑन योर फोन if you are using laptop, and I'll recommend using laptop or something. तो फोन से तुम you can ask me questions on this thing and it will be easy for me to without going on the chat section, without getting disturbed and everything. So Ronak, I think you should read this Swapnil message. He is Swapnil
Uh,
Singh ki IIT.
Swapnil, all of will be receiving the certificates of every workshop and the tech talk. After post animation, we will be sending everyone to your email IDs.
So I think I should start now, right?
Let me introduce you, sir.
Yeah.
So, good morning, everyone. I welcome all of you to attend the most awaited tech talk of the 9th edition of the Anvation 21. For giving this talk, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Harsh Paliwar. He is a software engineer at Cisco and also worked at Workomo and Fidelity Investments. He is an alumnus of our department and his talk will be aligned on the document-oriented database introduction, and he will be giving a brief introduction about the Elasticsearch and concluding with a tips for the using of this technology, relation of this technology related to the campus placement. So I will invite now Harsh sir to take the mic and carry it from here. Harsh sir, you can now carry from here.
Okay, I was mute. Sorry, sorry. I was on mute. Yeah. So I'll just I'll start with this thing जो लोग अभी join कर रहे हैं. just please, scan this thing. It will be easy for us to interact if you'll just come on the Slido. It will be very easy for all of us. So let me just take the link and I'll post it in chat window for the people who will join late. All right. Just 1 second. Chat. Yeah, I posted the link on the chat. So let us start with if you अगर सबने Slido को खोल लिया, so I'll just post one question to test it if it is working fine or not. So yeah, if you can see your screen, you will be seeing this question. I just want to ask, like, if it is okay if we go with Hindi or should we go with English? Yeah, we have some votes from English. Okay. You can just choose this and send and I'll see the response. I think English is about 50%, so we'll go with English because we can't do the thing because Hindi won't be understandable for the people who are preferring English. So yeah. Okay, so let's lock this thing. Now I'll present the slides. Right. Okay. So before starting the thing, I just want to ask you guys about your years and everything. So I'm just creating one more poll, and if you guys just can go there and submit your results. I've created a poll where you have to just put your year and branch, or maybe just 1 year and one branch. Year will be fine. Just put your year first, second, third, anything, so that I can get the idea how many first year, second year, third year rights are there. I hope there will be less fourth years, but if there are, it will be good. I can see first years are the most. Right. Yeah, I think we have our answers. First year meta is the major branch here, and the first year rights are the most guys here. Right. Second year, third year. Right. Okay. So let us start. Without doing that, I just wanted to know how many people are there from second, third year, so that I can guide according to them. Guys, can you please mute yourself? There is some disturbance coming, so if everyone can mute themselves. Yeah, thanks. So I'll start with myself. I think Ronak has already introduced me, so I won't waste much time here. So I'm working as a software engineer at Cisco, and also I work part time at Workomo. So I'm working at Cisco since 1 year. It will be my 1 year at August. And for the Workomo, I've been working for more than 1 year. I guess it's above 2 months than 1 year, so already 14 months. And I passed out from IIT BHU Metallurgy Batch 2020. So, and I was also a part of Anvision, when I was in fourth year and third year. So I did contributed a lot, like our juniors are doing right now. Yeah. So let's start with the agendas and expectations. So first, our agenda is basically I'll first clear the basics. So if you guys have haven't been into tech or something, you don't know anything about server clients or something like that. So I'll give you a brief introduction, very brief introduction, so that you can understand what I'm talking about in the upcoming sections like Elasticsearch or their implementation, because it is a little bit a deep technology, and if you don't know the basics, it will be hard for you to catch and cover. But don't worry, I'll just cover them in the brief. I'll cover everything which is needed. And then I'll go to the use case, which is a real-time use case which I applied on Workomo. So where I intern, basically we have been using Elasticsearch for last 4 months, and I have seen the results. I have seen the requirements. What are the requirements? Why did we need Elasticsearch? Basically, that was the first question we had. Do we really need it? We have the SQL and everything. So I'll start with the use case, then I'll explain what is Elasticsearch, then I'll explain how did we implement it, Elasticsearch in our use case, and then I'll give some perspective on the projects or the Elasticsearch uses or implementation that you can do on your level. And if we have more time, I'll give you some demo also where you can go and where you can just sign up and use Elasticsearch without downloading anything. And after that, if we have time, I'll talk about placements. I'll take your queries because I know, it has been COVID for like 1.5 years, and you guys have not been interacting that much with your seniors. So it is possible that you didn't, get chance to know more about placements or the preparation or everything. And the YouTube people have their own agenda, so it's not right to, depend on them also. So we will have time. We can discuss that also. Right. So let's start with the basics first. And I have like just one more question. I just want to know all the interest you have, guys, so that I can make you understand the basics and everything. So I'll just start the poll, and you can just give your answers. I've started the poll about your interests. Just you can go, and it will be the second last question. I won't ask more Slido questions. I know that you guys must be feeling terrible that we have to go again and again and check our phones. Yeah. So first response has come as SD, software development engineer. Right. You can just choose Django, Python, anything. You can write C++, Java, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, anything that you have did or anything that you want to know, anything that you fancy. It can be Elasticsearch. It can be anything. Most of the people are first year, so I'm expecting some HTML, CSS, something like that, C++, web dev, right. So I can see that some people have been introduced to web dev, CP, SD, data science, yeah, stock market, okay, good, finance. I have seen this wave coming that yeah, the college students right now are more aware of investing and trading than we were in our time, and it is a good thing. It is a good thing overall, right? So I can see many things like CP, SD, C++, JavaScript, web dev. So the people who have did web dev, they must be knowing SQL and the servers and the API thing, maybe if they have done some backend or something. But it's good that most of you have some experience in all these parts. So it's very good. Okay. And if you also don't have the experience, it's okay. I'll cover the basics and then I'll go on. So just listen out to the basics very carefully because it will going to help you understand the use case and then Elasticsearch and then the implementation. So just listen to the basics who don't know about SQL and everything. So first I'll cover the SQL, then I'll tell you what is NoSQL, and then I'll tell you server client framework, or which we can call API client framework. Both are like almost same thing. So SQL. So as you can see on the screen, it has been written that it can access SQL lets you access and manipulate databases and a standard language for relational database system. Right? So we'll break it in the parts, right? What is databases and what is relational database system? Because these are the two terms which is difficult to understand. Right? So database is just simple. It is a collection of data like in tables or rows or something like that. So this is just database, just a collection of data in any form, in tables, rows, any form, right? So let's take an example that we have a database which we call product. We are just naming that database as a product, right? And we have two tables. First table is users and the second table is contact, which is contact information. Okay. So we have two tables. First is users and the second one is contact information. So the contact information is basically the table which contains the information about the users, contact information about the users. Now I'll explain you what is relational database system after I'll explain this example. So let's just consider this as a users table, and we can see that in the users table, in the first row, we have three properties which we call ID. ID is the compulsive, and the second one is first name, and the third one is the last name, right? So you can see the first name is John Cena, Harry Potter, Bilbo Baggins. So you can just relate to that, and we have a compulsory ID. Now I'll just give you I'll just tell you why do we need an ID. I'll just tell you. And the second one is we have contact info table. Now you'll understand why was the ID necessary for a table, right? On the contact info, you can see that we have 5 columns: ID, email, phone number, address, and user ID. We can see that ID is a compulsory mandatory column which we have in the SQL table. And the second one is email. And the third one is phone number. And the fourth one is address. And we can see that John Cena at yahoo.co.in is the email, and this is the phone number, this is the address. And corresponding to that row, we can see that there is a column called user ID, and there is written 1, right? There is a number written which we call 1, right? You can go on the users table and match it to the ID 1, which we can see John Cena. So it means that this row has been connected to this row in this table, which we call contact information. So basically, the user, which we call John Cena, has its contact information in this row for the contact information table. You can see that this is a relation, and this is what we call relational database system. That is it. That is the all part. There is nothing more than this, and we can use this in a different way also. Let's say that I want to add contact information for Twitter profile or LinkedIn profile, or maybe my GitHub username, anything, right? So I have to create one other column. But let's say that I want to create some dynamic table where I don't need to create other columns. So I can use these type of mappings also. So in the latest table, in the latest contact info table, you can see that we have 4 columns. One is ID, second one is type, and the third one is value, and the fourth one is user ID, of course. So in the type, we will mention that type of contact info is there. So it is postal, and it can be email, it can be phone, it can be LinkedIn, it can be Twitter, it can be GitHub, it can be anything, right? Now you don't need to add any columns, you don't need to do anything, you don't need to structure anything, you don't have to put any default thing or something. You can save data as much as you want. So that was the purpose of SQL. As you can see, it is very optimized for storage purpose, only for the storage purpose, right? Because we can see if they were really concerned about computation, how will the computation happen? They won't create this complex structure of relational database system. They won't create this. They are just creating this because we were having the shortage of storage at that time when we needed databases. So they created SQL, and it was a pretty perfect thing for storages, right? So that was it for the SQL side. And why did we need SQL? And we still use SQL in most of the time. I don't think there is some organization which don't even use the SQL thing right now. They all use them. It is not outdated. It is of important use, and it is a good technology. It is a good technology, right? So now we'll come to NoSQL. So NoSQL databases. So actually, there is no definition of NoSQL. There is no specific definition. So we'll just consider NoSQL databases are databases that store data in a format other than relational tables. So other than relational database system, we call everything as NoSQL. There is no specific definition. But and what are the characteristics of that? It usually take up more space than relational tables, because we have understood that relational tables purpose was to save space, was to save storage, was to optimize storage, right? And by their this property, they are more often like scalable and provide superior performance. That we will see why they are claiming that NoSQL is more scalable and provide superior performance. And I know that you guys are in college, you have not been heard more of like what is scalability. Scalability is such a scalable is like is this an issue? Scalability is an issue or not? Like most of you guys have not like heard of it. Like scalability is such an issue or not? But it is like in the real world, if you will go into any company or any organization, you'll see the biggest problem is the scalability. That is the only problem the most of the organizations have. One of the examples of NoSQL is document database, and that document database looks something like this. So I don't know if you guys are aware of something called JSON. So JSON is just a simple Python dictionary, you can say. It looks like Python dictionary. You can see that there is a key called first name, then there is a value for that key, and then the key again, and then the value. You can see that we have did the same thing as we did in SQL. We have the same data here also, and it was also in the SQL, right? So this is what we call the document oriented database, right? This is a document. We call JSON as a document. We also have an option calling XML. XML is also a format which we can call as a document. Okay, so this is known as NoSQL. And let me just tell you, SQL is just a query language. It is not a database type. It is a query language which works on some specific databases like MySQL or the usual Oracle or this traditional databases. SQL is just a query language that they have agreed that we can all use a common query language which we call SQL for all the traditional databases we have. They have implemented their algorithms differently in some way under the hood, but we don't need to go into that detail. That is okay. You just have to understand this much. And then here comes the interesting part. We can say that there is most of the frameworks right now in the web are API client framework, right? And it was present back also like in 2000s also. So we can see what happens basically. We have a client, we have a laptop, we have a phone, we have a PC, right? We make a request from our browser, and the browser present the request in some way. In some way, it sends it to the REST API. Now just assume what is a REST API. So what is a REST API? What is the difference between REST API and server? There is not much difference between both of them because they are both like correlated, or they are not the same thing, but they're kind of correlated, right? So what we call the server is basically a CPU, right? Which runs some programs, which runs some threads, which runs some processes. And on what is API? API is just a service which we built upon that server so that you can call some endpoint. And I'll explain what is the endpoint. You'll call some endpoint in the API, and the API will figure out how to process this request and send a response, right? So now what is happening in this picture, we can see that client is requesting something. Don't get into the get post or something. I'll explain. Client is just requesting something to the REST API that he wants something, he wants to do something. And the REST API will, call the database. It will call the database and it will ask if the client is asking for some data. It will ask the database for some data. Or if the client will say, I want to save this thing. I want to save this user data. So the REST API will call the database and say, okay, let's save this thing also because a client is asking for it, right? And the database will send some response and the REST API will send the final response, right? And now we'll see what type of request and response format that will be, right? So we can see that in the request, let's say that I want to create a user on a website, on a service, something, right? So they have a server name which we can call usually google.com, facebook.com, anything, right? And then we have a endpoint, create user. So I was mentioning endpoint, right? So this is the endpoint. This is the endpoint, right? You can see google.com create user. So it will create a user for google.com, which they have like programmatically, configured in their server. We can see that when they're calling it, they're sending some data with it also. And we can see that this is a JSON. This is JSON. Now you may be confused that JSON was in NoSQL. What is it is doing here, right? Actually, JSON is a multi-purpose object. It can be used in requesting. It can be created as a document. We can also use it to save something in our local PCs and everything. So it is a multi-purpose document. So you can just assume that it is very useful. So we are using it, right? And then the response is that status is created user. So the database must have sent the response to REST. You can say, okay, the user has been created and the response has been sent in some JSON format. Right? And the get post is just a way to mention things. Okay, this is a post request. So post and get is a basic difference is that in post you can send some JSON object like this. You can send some JSON object with the like this, and in the get you won't be sending some JSON object or something like that. You will be mentioning all the parameters. So basically, this is a payload. We call this thing a payload, but we can also call this a parameters. They are parameters we want to save, right? But we won't parameters. We usually call it a payload. And now in the get request, you can only just send params in the endpoint, not with the body, not with the payload, right? So this is it, right? And we are requesting simply is just get us the user which has an ID1, right? And it will come to the REST API, and the REST API will ask the database, please get me the user which has the ID1. So, and it will send the user's object as a response. And the user object is simple, which we saw. So first name, last name, email, phone number, and address. It is a simple thing, right? I hope that you have understood the basics and all. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'll first start with the use case. Okay, I'll directly go to the use case. Yeah. Now, I'm just assuming that you guys have understood what are the basics, and if you guys have any questions, you can put it on the chat, or maybe I'll check the chat, or on the Slido too. That is okay. Both things are okay. So I don't see any queries. So let me just continue with the scenario. So what is basically the use case? So those people who come a little late, I'll tell you use cases. Basically, I'll tell you something real which we have implemented. I'll not tell you all the complex things which we have worked with, but I'll tell you some things which are related like that, and will correlate. Why do we need Elasticsearch? Why do we exactly have to ditch the SQL, or are we really ditching the SQL? Right? I will discuss everything. Right. Let's start with the scenario. We can see that let's say we have a good team. We have a product manager and we have two developers who are very hardworking, and they have lost their all hairs just working out the code and everything. And we have also the users, and we have created a good product, which we right now call product version 1.1, right? And the users have also like started using it. We have created something which I'll explain, and the users have started using it, right? So let me just go into the image and tell you what is the product, right? So the product is contact management system, right? It manages contact and meetings from their Google Calendar. Simple, very simple. So let's say that we have a user and it has a Google account. So if it has a Google account, it must be having a Google Calendar, right? And in the Google Calendars, we have meetings with people or some events I have to go, I have to take my dog out, I have to take, I have to eat the breakfast and everything. Like these are the events, but these are not relevant for us. But the relevant thing for us was meetings, right? And their context. Context was the people who were attending the meetings. So now they are the context of the user, right? So in the meetings, we can see what we wanted to do is basically we wanted to capture all the data from their Google Calendar, all the meeting data, all the event data from their Google Calendar, which contains the attendees. Attendees are the basically ones who are attending the meeting or attending the event. Like you guys are attending the call right here, right? And I am the organizer, or the Ronak and the convener guys are organizers, right? So I wanted to collect the meetings, right? We wanted to collect the meetings from the user Google Calendar. And I'll just tell you briefly how did we do that. Google has its own API, which it serves to the developers, right? It says, okay, so any developer or any organization which wants to take the calendars data in a easy way, will provide an easy way for you. We'll create some APIs for you, or we will create some wrappers. What is wrappers basically? So we have multiple languages, right? Python, PHP, C++, and Golang, and everything, right? We have multiple languages. So what they did is basically they have created a server, and they have created multiple APIs for their calendar. Like, if you have the permissions, if you have the required permissions from users, you can call their APIs, and you can get the data of that users, like meetings, like their attendees, like their meeting link, and everything. And I'll show you how are we processing that, right? I'm just giving you an idea, because most of the people are in first year, they don't know much about how should we access the big tech data, Amazon, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. So they all have their APIs. You can go and check it out in their developer section. They usually develop APIs so that developers or the students or the organizations can use their services and create something meaningful out of it. Right. So we have meetings in calendars. So what we do is basically whenever some meetings get added or get changed, or something gets changed in the meeting object, we will call the server, or usually their API will call our server. And what will our server do? Our server will basically save the data into our database. Simple, right? Very simple. And what is the database schema? Right? So let's say that we are using MySQL. MySQL is a database type, and this is a SQL database, right? And we have created 3 tables. You don't have to go in very detail. I'm just telling you these things. You can just look at these things from above and see. Also, it's okay, and you can just carry on. I'll make you understand everything after this thing, right? You don't have to remember anything. So just don't stress out कि मेरे को सब याद करना है. So this is users, and we on the users table we have properties like first name, last name, email, title, and company. And in the contacts we have first name, last name, email, title, company, same thing. But we have the user ID, because the context must be for some user, right? Contacts are not our users. Users are the users, and the contacts are the people who are in touch with the users and they want to save them. We'll show them in some dashboard, in some website. Okay, like, see, we have collected these contacts from you. We'll just show them. That is a basic thing. We will not talk about that. And then we have meetings, right? And the meetings, which properties we can have, like start time, end time, summary created by meeting link, right? And the user ID, the user for the meeting, like, right? It is obvious to understand. So this is our product version 1.1, right? Now, the users are very friendly to us. They just tell us everything, feedback, the bad things, and everything. So they just say that we want to request for notes feature for writing notes on meetings and contacts. Now our product manager is really smart, and he's asked the developers to just quickly develop it and serve it to the users, because this is a very good idea. If we can save the notes for the meetings or the contacts, it will be really good for us, right? If we have all the list of contacts and we can just click on any of the contact and we can write some notes. Okay, let's say that I'm writing note for someone I know from from my college. I'll write that this was his batch and he was doing this, and this is the note, and this is a very good feature, right? It can be very good for someone, and it is useless for someone else, but it is useful for some people, right? Let's say so we developed the note thing, and what we did is basically we created a service which can usually you can write the notes for meeting or contacts. We will directly save it into the DB, and we can show you the notes. Right now you can see that we had these 3 tables. It was meetings. Basically I converted into event. We can call the meeting as an event. It is okay. So you can see that these 3 tables have already been existed, but we created 2 tables, and those tables are event notes and contact notes. In the event notes, we are saving the content created at stamp and the event ID and the user ID. Event ID is basically the meeting ID, which meeting we are talking about, because the note corresponding to that, and which user is writing that. So that is user ID. And you can ignore that part if you are getting confused or something. This is not that important. I'm just trying to make you understand what we need. In the contact notes, we also have a contact ID and user ID and the content. content of node, right? So we created two more tables, which is event nodes and contact nodes. So this was the only change we made in the product, right? And now everyone is happy, everything is going good, and then the users come again and they say that we really want to request for a search feature, and it really seems like a very simple request for us, just a search feature. They just want to search everything. Like they just want to search the contact name, they want to search meeting name, they want to they want to search the event summary. They want to search their notes also. Now they want to search meeting notes, they want to search contact notes, they want to search everything. So if I'll go by the basic rules of programming, what will I do? So the basic rule says that I have to take every column which can contain our search data and then search it, then make some algorithm to search it. That is some string matching algorithm. Let's just make some complex algorithm that our developers are very smart. They will make the algorithm, but we have to take every column which can contain the possible search results, right? We have to take that column, right? Now, when this is just a one feature, notes is just a one feature. Now, in the upcoming days, we are going to add many more features. So how are we going to cope up with that? It takes really a good amount of time to create a service so that it can search, and it is not very optimized also. Let's say that we have 1 billion users. At that day, what we will do? How many scrapers should we run? How many servers should we run? It will be very expensive for us if our search method is not very good. If it is not scalable. The scalability, what I was talking about, why is it important? Now it comes the scalability part. We have to focus on scalability. How will we scale? If I say, okay, I'll give you a simple search feature based on SQL, you can just search it, but it will give you results in like 3 minutes. What is the use of it? There is no use of it. If it cannot give you the real-time results, the moment you type it and the moment you don't get the results, it is a waste. Nobody will use it, right? Now this is the use case. This is the use case which I explained, and I explained the problem we were facing, right? And now on the next step, I'll explain to you in briefly what is Elasticsearch and how did it solve our problem on the algorithm part also, and I can also give you a simple demo that can cover the doubts we have, right? Let me see. Okay, so before starting out, I also have one more Slido question, which is which technologies have you worked on? Right. So technology, I mean Django or something like that. Mainly, you can answer if you have not used anything. You don't have to answer. I just want to know if there are some guys who know some framework or something like that. Anything like if you are aware of some frameworks or something, because then there is a chance that you might be aware of how the server works and how can you connect more client and server thing. That will be like easy for me to understand. So if you guys can go to Slido if possible, if it is possible for you, to vote or something. If you don't want to vote, it's also okay. I will just continue the last six slides. Okay, then there is a none vote, one vote, which is none, two votes, none. Okay, so one guy has worked on Node.js. That is a good thing. So while you guys vote, I'll just tell you one thing. What is the purpose of Elasticsearch? Why is this important now? Why I'm taking a whole lecture on Elasticsearch? Actually, Elasticsearch is a technology, right? Like Node.js, like React. Tinker is also a technology, so it's a good thing. It's a GUI technology. So I really want to get. So it is a technology, right? So when you go into corporates or startups or in the working field, you don't you don't really use traditional things. If your workplace is very good, if your organization is very good, they won't care about the technologies, to be honest. It is all waste. They really won't care about the technologies. You have to work on everything. You have to work on literally everything. If they can give you C++, they can give you Java, they can give you Python, they can give you any framework, they can even give you Tinker. They'll say, we want to make a GUI for a POC, proof of concept. Yeah, please make it. You have to make it. So, just remembering, hard coding, remembering the Elasticsearch. I just want to know everything for Elasticsearch, and then I will become master. No, the technologies will change by time. Elasticsearch is a very new technology. It has been like there for 5 years, or like in the market. It has been developed really time ago, but it has been in the market for 5 years. And honestly, in the Cisco and in my intern, the products which I'm working on, they have all are using Elasticsearch. That is why I was just pushing it that we should, if college guys can learn about the technologies the companies are using, they'll be more aware about what to expect when they join the workforce, or what to expect in placement questions or interview questions. They'll be more aware. They don't have to master this thing, but they have to be aware of that. Awareness is a good thing. You can get many ideas from just a simple awareness, just a simple awareness. Okay, so I have gotten all the votes. Some guy have also worked on Mongo. I think he will understand clearly what is Elasticsearch. And there's React, Python, Geo. One guy has worked on Geo. No, what is Geo? And Node.js, and see, every type of technology is here only. So okay, I'll start with Elasticsearch. Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, Elasticsearch definition, the given definition on the Elasticsearch website is this, right? Why did I pasted the definition? Because the definition really don't matter. I'll tell you what is Elasticsearch. So you can read it out. That Elasticsearch is a distributed, free, and open search and analytics engine for all type of data, including textual, numerical, geospatial, structured, and unstructured. The most important part in the whole line is the last word, that is unstructured. I don't know if you guys have heard about data lake or not, but let me tell you, the data the organizations are receiving at this age, in the 2021, is very unstructured. Very unstructured. They are receiving logs in a very unstructured form. They are receiving the data from their users, their activities, their server timings are very unstructured. So that is a most important challenge for them to use unstructured data in a very optimal way, in a very useful way, so that they can create something very useful out of it. They can leverage it. Data is that important right now. Everything can, anyone can do everything with the structured data. They are structured. You know what to do. But with the unstructured, you have PDFs, you have images, you have like whatnot. Yeah. So unstructured data is a really good challenge for the upcoming generation, the tech field. So I will just continue. The speed and scalability of Elasticsearch and its ability to index many type of content mean that it can be used for a number of use cases, and there are use cases. And we are just looking at one use cases, which is application search. And there are many use cases of Elasticsearch. You can read about them. There are many tutorials available. I'll just explain one use case, which is application search, which is important for the use case which I told you just 5 minutes back, right? So I'll just quickly explain what is Elasticsearch. Just for now, assume Elasticsearch is a service which runs on a server, right? One Elasticsearch instance is basically meaning that one server is running, and on that server we have a service running which we call Elasticsearch, right? Just assume this thing for now. Elasticsearch do something, but I'll tell you later what does it do. I'll tell you later. You can see that it is a search engine or an analytics engine, but at the broader view, what it does, I'll tell you in the architecture section. So we'll go into the architecture section, and you can see that there is a client, there is a server, there is a DB, and this is our structure. This is the most of the organization structure. So where will the Elasticsearch will fit? Where will we set up the Elasticsearch, right? Usually we connect Elasticsearch to our main server, so that if we have any queries, let's say that we want to make search possible, right? So the client will ask for some search keywords, search queries, and it will directly go to the server, and the server will see, okay, I don't have to go database anymore. I have Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch will solve my problem. I'll just directly call this service, and I'll see what it can do. And I'll explain later what it can exactly do. So let's say the Elasticsearch will work on data, right? This is obvious, because without data, what it is going to be give us, right? It is not connected to SQL at any point right now, but it will be. So how do we insert the data into Elasticsearch? We have to keep it updated with our traditional DB, which is SQL. So maybe when I was telling you about SQL and NoSQL, so you might be feeling that, okay, so we are replacing the SQL from with NoSQL. No, actually, we are not doing that. We are using both of the database type, because we want to leverage both of the both qualities of both type of databases and both type of database system, right? So what we will do is basically we'll take every data, we'll collect every data, every user data in our SQL DB, in our traditional DB, and we will sync this data with Elasticsearch. This is what we'll do. I'll tell you how we're going to do it. How to use Elasticsearch is that, like I told you, for the Elasticsearch, like we have many programming languages like Python, PHP. So Elasticsearch has already made its wrappers, wrappers or clients. We can say that there is a client, there is a library, which you can see, right? There is a library. If people work on Python, they must be knowing the library and modules. So Elasticsearch has created their own modules for every type of language. They have created it, so you can just go and you can directly integrate it with your code. You don't have to learn the Elasticsearch language. There is no language as we call Elasticsearch. You can use any client, any favorite client. You can use Python, PHP, anything, right? And now the point is, actually Elasticsearch collects more than data. It collects log, it collects metric data, it collects every error which comes between client and server. It collects everything. So is data visualization possible? Yes. So they have a service called Kibana. I will not explain much about Kibana, but I'll tell you some resources to go through it. But it is a very interesting way to visualize your data. Very interesting way. So I'll go into the basics of Elasticsearch. So I'll explain what is Elasticsearch, how does it work. So I told you, right, Elasticsearch works on a server, right? Now, let's consider that server as a node, right? That at every node, we have multiple nodes right now, but at every node, there is a server working and the Elasticsearch has been installed on it. And that is how the scalability problem gets solved. We can't put terabytes of data on one server. We can't process terabytes of server only on one physical server. It is not possible and it is not feasible for our own purpose, for our own, easiness or affordability. So the advisable part is that we should create multiple servers to serve to solve the scalability problem. So that is why we have multiple Elasticsearch instances on these different nodes. And what do we call it? We call it cluster. So we can have multiple clusters also, but usually we prefer only one cluster. And if you just go with the simple cluster thing, it will be nice, right? So I'll explain what is index. First, I'll explain what is document. Okay. And what is document is basically unit of data stored in the node is called a document. So you can see in the left hand side, there is a JSON document called name and country with Bo Anderson and Denmark. And it is stored as this format in the right hand side. We can see that the important information, which is this, is stored in the source key. We can see, right? And there are many keys like this. So there is an index and there is a type. Type is a document. We can see that is quite self-explainable. And then there is ID, there is version, there is sequence number, there is primary term. So there are many meanings of these things. I'll explain you, one by one, and you don't have to know everything about this thing. This is not that important, but you will understand how to work on that part, right? So we have understood what is a document. Now the collection of document, we call it an index. Let's say that we have a person called Walter White and we have a document with the name of it. Bo Anderson, Average Joey, Harry Potter, everything. We call it a people index. So in the people index, we have a collection of documents, right? Collection of people documents. And then there is a department index, right? In the department index, we have marketing document, we have development document, design document. There may be some details about marketing, how much revenue generated, how much, how much area does it cover in the office land. It can happen, right? These data can be there. So this is what we call an index. And now I'll just quickly will just correlate relational databases with Elasticsearch. We can see what we call database in relational database system is we call index here. So the index here is database, and then the table is our type and the row is our document. So there is no specific definition of table here, but there is a definition of database and row. So we create a database and then we just insert row into it, and that we call the document. And we can create a different type of types also. That is a different thing. That is a altogether different thing. We can also learn about that. And then we have column and schema. So you can relate something to it, that the database is basically index and the row is basically a document. So the row in the SQL table is now a document, but without relations, right? Why without relations? Because we are putting everything into one document. We're putting everything into one document. We are not creating any relation. We are not creating any user ID or something like that. We are putting everything into one document. And why are we doing it? Because we are not short of storage now. So we are in the 2020s and storage is the cheapest thing possible right now. So we are not concerned about storage at all. And is it worth it? I'll tell you and I'll explain you why is it worth it. Why we are using this much storage is worth it. Why we are justifying that this much storage uses. Just in an extra server, we already have a database and still we are creating a database which will create more, which will take more space, but still it is still we are creating and we are saying that okay, it is justified, right? It is a strange thing. So I'll just come to some technical terms. I'll just go through them very quickly because some people can get really bored with that. So I'll just pick up a technical term which we call sharding. Sharding is a way to divide an index into separate pieces. So pieces are called shards. So let's say that we have a node A which has a capacity of 500 GB. Let's say this is one server where we are running Elasticsearch, one Elasticsearch instance. And then there is a node B where we are also running one Elasticsearch instance, right? And we have an index which has a data around 600 GB, right? So how do we store 600 GB in a 500 GB node, right? That is why we need multiple nodes for scalability. And now we will create shards. We'll create pieces. We'll divide index into pieces so that we can create shards. Now this shard A will go into node A and this shard B will go into node B, because the shard A will contain the 300 GB of it and the shard B will contain 300 GB of it, right? This is why we are creating multiple nodes so that we can have data at multiple places. And how will it help us in searching the data faster? I'll explain you. How will it help us? Right? Let's say that the main reason for sharding an index is to be able to scale its data volume, divide an index into smaller things that are easier to fit onto nodes. Right? I told you this thing. Improved performance. Search query can be run on multiple shards at the same time. Now this is the point. We have multiple servers now. We don't need to depend on one thread. We don't need to depend on one thread. We can utilize multi-processing system. And if you guys have taken the basics computer class, you have heard of multi-processor system, right? This is a multi-processing thing, right? It processes at multiple servers. It processes data with multiple servers. If you give Elasticsearch a query, it will search on every server and it will try to find the search query. And I'll tell you what is the algorithm. But if you look at it on the broad point of view, it will search every server, and this will be a parallel search, and it will be really faster than a singular search in a singular DB search. It will be really faster than that, right? So and actually we create multiple shards because we don't want to lose them, and sometimes it happens that we create over sharding. We create more than required shards. Then it is that we have 10 things and we have created 10 shards. Right? So this is one thing per shard. So that is like taking almost same time. We are overusing the resources. And now there is a term called replication. Replication is basically we are copying the shards into similar servers. Right? Let's see this thing, right? Why are we copying all these things? First we distributed all these things, and then we are also copying it, and we are not copying it only one time. We are copying it 2 times. And why are we doing that? Because for some organizations, there is a very critical data. They don't want to lose on 1 minute. They don't want to lose on one customer due to because their servers were not running or their one node was down. So one node was down. So they created replicas. They created replicas of their shards and they didn't put the replicas into that node which contains their primary shard. So this primary shard created its two replicas, which is replica E1 and replica E2. And then we put these replicas into different nodes. So let's say if node A is down, we can still use the data from shard A in the node B, right? So this is some use case of a replication. It takes more space, but yeah, the company's priorities are like that. They don't want to, lose out on the opportunity. So I'll just quickly explain you how can we create a document in index. I have a tutorial available, but we have like less time, so I'll just cover it out quickly. So let's say that we want to create a document in an index. Let's say that we have an index. So I'll explain you what is this. So this is a console, right? This is a development console. So when you will use technologies have their own development environment where you can develop, where you can test, right? So this is a testing environment for Kibana or Elasticsearch, we can say, right? So we can, do the queries here. So you can see that why are we using post request, right? Why are we doing that? Actually, the Elasticsearch works on request response format. That is why I made you understand what is API client, because Elasticsearch works on that. If you want to save some data on Elasticsearch, you have to make a request. If you want to get some data from Elasticsearch, you have to make a request like you do to a basic server. That is how it works. This is its language. For the relational database, their language is SQL, structured query language. But for the Elasticsearch or the similar databases, we have we use the request response format. For someone wrote Mongo also, and it also kind of works in a similar way. So there is a index called products, right? And in the products, we want to save this document, which is name, price, and stock. So it will save everything into the index part, right? In the products, and we can see all the details. Result is created, it has been created, ID has been allotted, it has been allotted a random ID. We can also put it a required ID, and that is not necessary. So and it will explain you how many shards are there. They are seeing that there are 2 extra shards. So basically it means that they have created 2 replicas of their original shard. Yeah, hi Divyansh. Yeah. So I'll explain the second thing, which is schema requirements, right? So in the schema requirements, you can see that in the MySQL, we define the data types like this, right? I'll explain again, there was noise. So in the MySQL or in the SQL, we have to define the structure of table. We have to define the structure. Without structure, we can't work on relational tables. We can't really directly go into a tables and insert something there. It won't work. So we have to create a structure that we call schema. That schema is a term for databases, and it is just a simple thing, right? And in the Elasticsearch, we can also create simple structures, which we call mappings here, right? But in most of the cases, it is not necessary to create a mappings. Without mappings, you can put unstructured data into it. That is not necessary to create mappings. I just wanted to show you what are the schema requirements. Now I'll come to the point, which is searching, and I'll explain you quickly how do we what is the quick algorithm we use, what is just a glimpse of searching. It is very complex, it works on Lucene, and it is a little complex to understand in just one workshop. So I'll explain you how does Elasticsearch process the query. So we can see that we have a sentence, right? And the sentence get converted into tokens. We can see the tokens is basically we have removed the space and we have converted this thing into an array. You can see, right? We have converted everything into an array, and we have taken all this part into a table, right? two a bar but ducks guys into the third walk, right? And we have created a sign that okay, it is present in document number one. Now I'll go into the multiple documents. Let's say we have three documents and we have three fields. Let's say this is the content. So we have three fields which will get converted into these tokens, right? This type of token, this type of token, this type of token, right? And we can see we have all the terms from all the list listed here, and we have a check mark. Okay, this is available in this document. This is available in this document. You can see that this as a adjacency matrix. If you guys have worked on CP, you can see this as a adjacency matrix. Now we have created inverted index. We have created our, the data we had, the strings we had, we converted them into something 10 and 10. Now, if we get any query, we'll just go directly on our list of words and we'll see if it exists here. And if it exists here, we'll see on like how many documents or on which documents it will exist. Let's say that I'm searching about guys and it will show me that it exists in document 1 and document 2. We don't have to go through all the documents again. No, we don't. This thing that is a little complex, right? And what is this? Yeah, so let's say that we have separate fields. We have name and description. In the previous example, we were working only on the description. But let's say that we want to work on name field. We can also create the similar thing for the name also, for the description also. Now you can ask me that there are integers, there are other type of database. So we actually use other type of algorithm for that, for the integers also. But the main algorithm, the main search queries, if we look at on the customer side, users will like to search in the query string form. So that is our main use case. So this is what I explained you. How will the search will be implemented in the Elasticsearch, right? Now let's come to our product, which we were working on, which we were seeing that okay, now we need a search requirement, and we can see that in the user, the Google Calendar, right? It has the Google Calendar. It is writing every note and everything. Now let's say the users do a search query. Okay, let's say that I write some note about Divyansh. I met him on the Google Meet, and I write a note about Divyansh that he's my batchmate and he is working on this metallurgy research paper, and the name of the research paper is this. And I just forgot Divyansh. Like I don't know where is the note, where is the thing. So I'll search the metallurgy paper. I'll search that, okay, this was the research. How do I search it? So it will send that search query into the Elasticsearch, and the Elasticsearch will give us the exact document. Okay, so this was the contact where you have added the note. This was the meeting where you have added the note, and it will give you in the real time. If you have like terabytes of data, if you have petabytes of data, and that is possible in case of Amazon, Flipkart. Look at their scale. They are not working on 2 GB of data. They're working on petabyte of data. They have lots of data to analyze. They can't use the traditional database like SQL. They need something like Elasticsearch or something like that to serve their customers in real time, right? So this is a simple thing. Like the server will make the search query, and the search query will go into the Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch will give the response to server, and the server will send it to the user, right? And we can see that the database will get updated every time the user will do something, because we are still using the SQL, right? And the synchronization between the data and the Elasticsearch will happen continuously, because that is needed. If the synchronization stops, then that won't serve the purpose. We have lost the data, basically. It won't be searchable, right? So we are done with the Elasticsearch part. Now I'll just quickly explain just some 3 or 4 points of how can we use Elasticsearch. I think we are going less on time. I'll quickly go through it. So Elasticsearch has broad use case and scalability capability. that we all know of, right? Is Elasticsearch is very useful. Now, how is it useful for a college student? You might ask that thing to me, right? To be honest, if you don't have the data, it is not very useful. This is an honest opinion. But if you really want to make use of Elasticsearch, figure out the use case, figure out a case study, figure out your data. There is a lots of data. There are lots of YouTube comments I should tell you about. Now, in the starting, I told you that there are, YouTube APIs, there are Twitter APIs. You can extract the data from them. You can extract the data for a video, or you can extract the data for a hashtag. You can do anything, right? Now you have the data. Now you can implement the Elasticsearch. Now you can do something about it. You can make a project. You can just make your life easier by doing something. And you can just go on the Elasticsearch website and look at the use cases. How can I use it? How can I not use it? And let me tell you, if you have this type of experience, it will surely help you in getting the more revolutionary ideas, more broad ideas, so that you can work on them, you can collaborate on them. That is very necessary for a college student, to get the ideas. And to get the ideas, you need to know everything that exists for the technologies we are using on the internet, right? Now, the second point is organizations at this time really migrating to Elasticsearch as a separate service than relational databases. And that is true. I have seen it in my case. The product for which I work with Cisco, they are especially using Elasticsearch. That is their main database, and they really use it. And for the intern I was working with, they were also using Elasticsearch. They just opted it. They implemented it 4 months back. I was there. I was seeing the implementation. We had this problem, right? And now you can see that how important these type of technologies to the organizations or to the startups which comes to hire you. If I just directly go to that point, so in the placement perspective, it is pretty important. If you do some projects around it, it is pretty important. So I'm not asking you to just go and just do something around Elasticsearch, just make a project on Elasticsearch. No, use Elasticsearch as a tool. Find out some problem. Try solving that problem with Elasticsearch, or maybe with other things also. That will help. But only doing Elasticsearch is very boring, because you don't have the data, you don't have anything. What will you do? You go into console, you will put all the data from yourself, and that will not do the thing. That you will not learn anything. So if you really want to learn anything, if you really want to implement Elasticsearch, figure out a problem. There are many problems, and usually, when I was in college, the problem I faced was I didn't had enough ideas. I didn't have enough ideas to work on projects. I had few, but I didn't had enough. I didn't had buckets of ideas. I should have buckets of ideas. I have loads of time in my hands in my college. What can I do with that time? So this is the best advice or practice, to just find out a problem, try to solve it. If it Elasticsearch or any type of thing is needed, maybe machine learning is needed, use it. We don't go by the tool, we go by the problem. If we go by the tool, we'll create something for formality. If we go by the we need a machine learning project, that is not possible. You have to find out a problem and then see if machine learning can solve it or not. See things like that, and you will learn many things on the way. I won't say that you will get master of everything, but you will learn lots of things in your career, and it will be beneficial for you in the long run. And the third point is Elasticsearch is very fast. Because Elasticsearch is built on top of Lucene, it excels at full text search. So you guys might not know about Lucene. I also don't know much about Lucene, but from the point of view, I know Lucene. Lucene is a Java-based service which has the best algorithm around the searching. So the inverted index idea was of Lucene. Lucene works like that. So undoubtedly, Elasticsearch is very fast. And to see the fastness, or to see the the impact of Elasticsearch, you need to have data. You need to differentiate between the traditional and the Elasticsearch. But still, if you don't have that much data, you can still use Elasticsearch. You can still try it out with unstructured data. That will give you more perspective, more views, and more ideas. to be honest. And now I'm done with the slides and final presentation. If you guys have any questions around Elasticsearch or anything, I'm pretty happy to answer them. But I'll show you just one thing, one quick thing. Right? Just one quick thing. Just one. Once again, let me just reload it. This is also a great idea. Just look at this extension. This is called the Great Suspension tool. What does it do? You might ask me what is the problem? What was it need? Right? So I have this laptop, and usually I create many tabs in the Google Chrome, and Google Chrome is a heavy software. It really takes everything from your CPU, and it runs like hell. And if there is many processes, if we will look out for the complex software like this, we can see that they're usually the network part. They are sending the request continuously. They are working continuously. See, they're working continuously. They won't stop. They won't stop. They will ask the data for the server continuously. You might know some of you might know this thing, but most of you who are in like early stage, they will know this thing, that though your Google Chrome asks for the request while it is not loading, it asking in the background. We call this Ajax technology, but it asking that, and it continuously keeps asking it, right? And I don't have the use of this page after 5 minutes, but I will not close it due to some FOMO. Now it will take up all my CPU. So what this extension does is basically, if you are not using any page for more than 1 hour, it will suspend it. It will suspend it so that it cannot ask for more requests, so that Google Chrome does not give us a toll on our CPU. So that was a problem, and these guys have solved it. So this is how you solve some problem, right? So what I was telling you is in main part I forgot. Yeah. So let's say that if you really want to use Elasticsearch, you can go in on this website. You can start your free trial. It is very easy to set up. You just have to click on this thing, and it will tell you everything what you want to do, what you need to do. It will set up everything for you. It will set up a console for you. It will show you something like this. Okay, this is the console. This is the Kibana. This is the APM thing you can use. There are many services that you can use with Elasticsearch, to be honest. And you can open this thing. This is what I was showing you, right? This is a console for us. We can test it out, right? So I was testing it. In the history we have. I was going at that. There is a command called put users, right? I will run this command, and I don't know what it will show me this time. I think it is not working right now. I haven't logged in or what. So let's say that we just want to see all the indices right now in our Elasticsearch. So what we will do is basically we'll run this command. This is a get request, and we'll get every indices. This is the indices name. And yesterday I was for this demo purpose, I was creating a users table. So the users indices I created, I saved some data into it. I created three fields just for demo purpose, just very simple. Just to show you how you can work on Elasticsearch. You can just go. This is the history part where I was doing it. So you can just go and search around it, play with it. It will help you. It will help you surely. So just try it out. Go into that website, set it up. It is very easy to set it up on cloud for 14 days. It is free. It is without any charge. After 14 days, if you still have interest in Elasticsearch, go and install it on your local server, and it will help you in many ways, right? And Elasticsearch documentation is really great. You have every type of documentation here. You can see that they are telling you every detail you want to know about any type of API. This is an indexing API. You have document API, and there are all type of APIs are available, REST APIs. So documentation is pretty good. So you won't get stuck anywhere. And I also forgot something, that some people may have they may fancy machine learning, right? So we also have some machine learning use cases for Elasticsearch, that is like anomaly detection or data frame analytics. Like as you can see, you can like search around it on YouTube. You will get many things, and that may useful for you. That may be useful for you if you want to do it. So So this is it. I think I'm done. Showing all the presentations and all. So I'll just ask Ronak or someone to take over, or I'll just ask you guys if you want to ask me anything around anything Elasticsearch or placements or projects or anything, any doubt. I'll be happy to tell you. So just shoot on your questions if you have any, or the Ronak or the Yuvraj can.
Yeah, good morning, Harsh bhaiya. So, if any participant has any doubt, like please raise your hand and I'll just call your name in the meeting. Okay, I'm pretty sure that there are people who are preparing for SDE roles in their placements and internships. So yeah, don't hesitate. Ask Harsh bhaiya any doubts you have, and like he is our alumnus only. So he'll be happy to answer all your questions and interact with you.
Yeah, you guys can be frank. You can ask me anything. I'll answer. I'll try to answer that in the best possible way. The Elasticsearch might be a little bit heavy for you guys, but it's okay. It happens. You will understand things. It's okay. So you can ask about placements or any basic thing. I'll happy to answer. And I think they have understood more than what I expected. They don't have any questions. That is very good.
Yes, I guess that is the case because yeah, definitely I got what like I don't have any idea about databases and yeah, the talk was very clear and yeah, helpful. So I can see that nobody has a doubt. So I don't think that it's any kind of problem. So thank you, Harshbi. Yeah, okay.
I
Yash
think
Kumar has a
someone.
doubt. Yeah, Yash Kumar, please like turn on your mic and ask your question.
Good morning, Priya.
Yeah, hi,
Priya,
good morning.
my name is Yash Kumar. I'm first year undergraduate student at ITBHU from metallurgy department only. I
Yeah.
wanted to know that if I want to make my profile as a software engineer, so will my branch put any hurdle or anything for placements or internship, or companies will allow me to sit in the placement because my background is not from CS or IT sector. So is there any problem? Basically, I wanted to know that.
I think this will be the like most asked questions for freshers who haven't even reached the campus yet. So I can understand that this question is really genuine and this question is really coming from very genuine place. So I'll answer it with the sincerity. So I'll just tell you that the branch really it does matter at some point. But to be honest, if you are really looking forward to working hard, it won't matter much. If that is what you want to listen. But to work hard, you have to look out for the technologies. You have to learn yourself. So that is the drawback we have. We don't get teachers or we don't get professors to teach us something. We have to learn ourselves, and that is a good thing. We still have to learn everything ourselves, and that is a good practice to have. So I'll suggest all of you guys who are freshers and everything, just prepare yourself to looking forward to everything. Like nobody's going to teach us, nobody is going to spoon feed us like the GE guys or GE professors did to us. So it will be hard for us in the starting, but as we go on, it will get easy. Software is, I think, easy side if you have some interest. From my experience, I can say if you have any interest in software and genuine interest. I'm not asking about job or anything that you will get that package or something. I'm just telling about genuine software. If you really have genuine software interest around products or everything, if you want to be a product manager or data analyst or something, if you don't have any interest in coding or something, but still, if you have interest for technology, you will go forward. You won't get stopped. There is no way that you will be get stopped. There are many opportunities in the sea. It is full of opportunities right now for you guys also. For 4 years after, I can see that there are many opportunities in this field. So don't worry about that opportunity that you can get the opportunities. You are in a good college. You will get every opportunities that you can, but you should be prepared to grab it. Otherwise, uh, you know the drill, right? Yeah, I think that answers your question. Swapnil, right? Yes.
Yeah, so I'd like to add one more thing in Harsh Bhaiya's answer, that as a part of the training and placement cell, I can also assure you that if you have the relevant skills, nothing can stop you from securing a job in your dream company. So you just have to work hard without thinking like what will be the outcome, will I succeed or not. So don't think about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and then as Devraj said, that there are still at this point of time, I can see that most of the companies open for metallurgy also, and they really don't discriminate. They are just stories that they discriminate in interviews. They will discriminate in tests. There's nothing like that. You can ask Devraj also. He's in TP training and placement, but there is no discrimination, so you don't have to be worry about those stories that okay, that there is back bitching, the metallurgy guys will not get it or something like that. There is nothing like that. It is pretty transparent, so you just have to work hard and you'll get into the shortlist and you'll get the interviews.
yeah.
Anyway,
And otherwise, why would we have, a tech talk in a fest which is exclusive to the students of metallurgical engineering, so to say? So you must
yeah.
be free from all those fears. And the second question we have is from Swapnil Vinay. He asks if we want to start basics in data analyst roles, what is the roadmap? So Swapnil, there are a lot of roadmaps on the internet, but if Harsh Bhaiya would like to answer his question, he may please speak up.
What is the question?
He wants a roadmap for data analyst roles.
Okay. See, Swapnil, as in, I'm not very much aware of data analyst, but if you really want the roadmap, I think for the data analyst, you need to prepare your aptitude. You need to have, like, you need to have that kind of attitude that you can generate some insights by looking at some data or looking at some, picture of something. So that is the most important thing for data analyst. As I don't know if anyone is here who is doing data analyst or some alum is there, but when I talk to my friends who are working at Mastercard or Sprinkler, when I talk to them about their jobs as a data analyst, they tell me these things, that if you have an attitude of getting the insights from the data, looking at the data or analyzing the data, you will get all the technologies and everything. But if you have that insight, you will be a really good data analyst. And for preparing for data analyst, it is very simple. You have to prepare the aptitude. That is it. And you have to have good communication skill. That is a compulsory thing. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Divyansh, also. So, thanks, Nandi. Send my regards to Nandi, sir, also.
Okay, so I guess we are done with the questions and all. So thank
Yeah.
you once again, Harsh Bhaiya, and it was a really informative workshop. I hope that everybody from first and second years and every junior senior guy who attended this workshop got a lot to learn. And yes, also I'd like to extend my thanks to all the attendees from other colleges, and if there are any professors, I'd like to thank them too for being a part of this workshop. And as I can see, Dr. Randhir Singh of our department has also sent you regards. So um I'd like to also, thank you on his behalf too. And yes, I guess that will be it for the workshop. If Harsh Bhaiya or somebody has to say something, I'd like to hand over the mic to them. And yeah,
Yeah,
otherwise,
I'll just quickly say one thing. If you guys really have any doubts, really think anything related to that, you may have my email IDs. I'll provide it to the organizers. They'll give you my email IDs. You can email me. But usually in every case, nobody emails anything to anyone. So I'll just do this formality. And for the Innovation team, I would really like to, thank you guys to keeping up the legacy. I've been a part of Innovation for my 3 or 4 years of my college life. It was a really great moment for us, and you guys are really keeping up the legacy. I didn't expect it from our junior batches because they are not, they were not present in the campus for that much long. But I can see the interest they are taking in the departmental activities, and that is very good. If we are still preparing for some SD roles or data analyst role, we don't have to separate ourselves from the department. Okay,
yeah,
because I know that most of the guys are from the department, from our department. So I'm just advising you guys that you should not hate metallurgy for going off for a SD role. I was already in an SD from my first year, but still I was involved in every departmental activity. I was promoting everything because this is the legacy, this is the campus legacy you create in your college time, and you should be proud of it, and you should contribute to it in every possible way. and there are many chances in metallurgy also, many opportunities in metallurgy also. So you should go and do everything, do contribute your your time or everything. I think there is so much disturbance. So that is it from my side. I'll be happy to help if you need any help. I'll cover everything. So, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pleasure.
And also, we have Divyansh Gautam in our meeting. So, Divyansh Bhaiya, if you'd like to turn on your camera and mic and share a few words with us.
Yeah.
To
Divyansh.
introduce Divyansh Bhaiya to you all, he is also Harsh Paliwal's batchmate, and both of them have graduated from IIT.
बैकग्राउंड चेंज कर बैकग्राउंड चेंज
I think Divyansh is getting very shy.
I guess he is busy changing his background, probably.
Hello guys, what's up? I'm good
All
here.
good.
The presentation was quite insightful for me. I'm also like really the beginner of the beginner in this particular field. But yeah, still.
Divyansh Gautam is the greatest data analyst.
So yeah, what I'm supposed to tell, please tell me.
Nothing, Bhaiya. If you'd like to add any comments on Anveshan or this tech talk in particular, you're like invited to share a few words with us.
Bro, you should motivate guys to take metallurgy serious and take metallurgy project. That is also interesting. Just say something about it.
So yeah, the corona has affected quite a bit the experiments of the so-called metallurgy. But yeah, if someone is like really motivated right from the beginning, then he or she can really do something experimentally. But yeah, theoretically, someone can try at home also. There is Param Shivaya right here in our college.
Yeah.
Someone can take the credentials from there and can start looking for the DFT calculations and the theoretical calculations to model the materials, and someone can try that sort of stuff. If someone has no idea about that, then he or she can contact Dr. Bretinnath Mukherjee, Dr. Surya Basu. These people are really good at that. Vikas Jindal sir. Yeah, these people are like really doing some stuff in this sort of field. Theoretically, experimentally, it's not so much like possible at the moment. But yeah, you can look some YouTube videos, how the labs look like, how to perform. Actually, I want to ask that how the practicals are going at the moment, like end sems and mid sems.
Yeah, it's actually the professor sent us recorded videos of the experiments, and we just have to submit the reports, the lab manuals that we write. So it's just it has now reduced to this much work only.
Almost the same thing as we did. We just happen to be at the lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the answer remains the same. The color of the gold is gold.
Yeah.
And still people need to study a bit of metallurgy.
Yeah.
Because if you want
so we are having another very close batchmate of ours, Abhyuday Verma, right there.
Mr. Padar, nice to meet
So
you.
let me introduce the current credentials of this person. He is like right now he has joined ISC Bangalore for the nanoscience department by clearing the gate examination. So yeah, you can talk to him as well to pursue masters in physics, applied physics, materials design. So he do the DFT stuff. So if you want,
can also reproduce at home.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I guess we got some really important messages from both Harsh Paliwal and Divyansh Gautam. So what do you say, Bhaiya? Should we like end this
Yeah,
session
yeah,
or?
yeah.
Yeah.
Take
So
over, take over. It's yours.
yeah. So before we just finish this session, I'd like to inform all the attendees here that at 1 p.m. we'll have the we'll have the paper presentation for Revista, and at 2 p.m. we'll have other events in Isha and Internado. And at 7:30 p.m. we'll have the guest lecture on nano engineered materials. So I know for a fact that it is such a field that excites everybody, even from the first year only. So I'd suggest everybody that schedule out in such a way that you definitely attend that guest lecture. It will be very helpful for you all in deciding what you should do next, and it will really make you introduced to new things and all. So I guess we must end this session. Yeah, and thank you all for joining here. Thank you, Harsh bhai, and thank you, Divyansh bhai.
Yes,
I think Yes Kumar has the question. Yes Kumar, please ask.
Yeah, Yash Kumar.
yes, yes.
I am very sorry, I am asking very late. I just wanted to know that how can we apply for internship at DRDO or some government places in metallurgy or in software, machine learning, anything. DRDO वगैरह में कैसे कर सकते हैं भैया ये सब?
See, bro, is DRDO में पता नहीं मेरे को सॉफ्टवेयर वाला होता ही नहीं होता है. That Divyansh can answer. But ST के लिए, if you really want to apply for a internship or something, but in the first year and you are doing everything from home, so I will just suggest you to do something on your own first, and then try approaching people on LinkedIn or your LMs. Like you can approach me. I can give you some hints about which startup is doing something. They can hire you. They can do some work. Maybe they will be unpaid for some time. It is obvious, yeah. You're in first year. You may not be able to contribute that much, but after you will get stipends or something. So that should not matter if you are really interested in software. So that is it. You just have to do something on your own, make some projects, get some experience, and then contact your alums or your batchmates. If someone knows some startup who is doing something, get a pretty basic experience, and then you can apply for a big companies. That will be better. That will be better after doing some basic projects or basic experience project. I'll suggest that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you need to know any more details, you can contact your senior TPRs. They'll be happy to help you. And yes, I see a lot of thank you messages. So on behalf of everybody, I'd like to once again thank Harsh bhaiya. And yes, it's 12 p.m. now. I think we can all leave the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks. It was really nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.